All right, well, we are outside. It's a post-show, whatever the hell you want to call it, pre-draft show. I'll do my best not to shake the camera here, but a couple of things that pop from today's show. And it's freezing out up here, but where else would you be able to see my Abe Froman shirt, right? That's the biggest difference is I don't want to just cover it up with some sort of hoodie or coat, anything like that. I mean, the idea is that you see the shirt. I don't really get to parade this shirt around. It's not really well received in the household by any means. But one thing that came on the show today, it's the draft, of course. So everybody is going crazy. And here in Philadelphia, we're all waiting, I think, for a wide receiver. What's funny is that I don't really feel like I've seen many people outspoken, at least. Now, you can talk about all 8, 9, 10, however deep you want to go into these wide receivers where the Eagles could draft one. But how many people, just put it out there, right? How many people are actually demanding that the Philadelphia Eagles draft an inside linebacker, a pass rusher, a tackle, a backup quarterback, anything other than, of course, a wide receiver? It doesn't mean you're wrong. Doesn't mean I'm done the day, man. I'm off. I'm not going to fight anybody on here. I'm just curious in general if it's really a matter of unique versus just everybody in your group, everybody that you know, everybody that you come into contact with, even if it's through Zoom chats or whatever you have. Now, Jeffrey Cross, so you'd say you take Murray first over a wide receiver. So that's where I feel like it would be very unique and very just in the minority of want. And I understand that from a fan standpoint, Jeffrey's standpoint, it's up there on the screen. People want, well, defense versus offense because of Saquon Barkley and Ezekiel Elliott, especially that position. But we also have to factor in reality too, right? Don't they drastically and maybe even tragically undervalue that's the dog, by the way. Don't they undervalue wide receivers? Look at him, man. He's got something going on. He's got something. I mean, not wide receivers. They do that. You're right, Jeffrey. I'm sorry. I'm distracted by the dog. I promise you, this is just the first Labatt here. But look, he's got something in the back. Might be a squirrel. There was a fox the other day, and you actually have the broad view. See, what I was going to say, though, Jeffrey, real quick, is that not only do they devalue or undervalue wide receivers, but they sure as hell do it with inside linebackers as well. But I don't know what he's got over there. Some sort of scent, and it's beginning over there, and it might actually be, hey, maybe he's eating grass or something. I don't know, but there was a fox there yesterday, and it was probably like 3:30 in the morning. Let him out because I can't sleep, so he wakes up with me too, and came outside to hang out, if you will, partake, if you will, and we just let him out because there's fence here and he could run around a little bit. And he just bolted crazy. Like he had some scent, and turns out there was a fox. We saw the fox the next day and kind of some tracks from the paws as well. But what I tell you, this dog was going crazy. And we have these floodlights. So the floodlights are definitely bright enough where you can see a ton in the backyard, but it cuts off. So any of you remember the Game of Thrones scene in the final season where they're protecting the castle up north, and she sends out her warriors and they all have lights, and then all of a sudden it just goes dark. And that's what it is here. He's like in the light, and then he crosses over because there's this definitive line in the backyard. So he just goes, and it's dark, and all you hear is noise, this hunting sound, whatever just heavy, thick exhale. It sounds like a horse, something like that, just crazy exhale going on. And he's coming back now. I guess he didn't find anything. And then he'll run around, and he'll run right up on the fence. And whatever he's chasing, it could be fox, it could be squirrel, it could be bird. And every now and again, you had a deer pop in. We actually had a deer jump over the fence, and he had to run and go crazy. So outside of that, he's just pretty much sniffing and doing what he can. And it's just insanity because you'll see him. He'll be perched up here, and next thing you know, he'll bolt and run back. trying to get him up here now on the fence to see if I can get him up, but I don't know. He sees his mama, so he wants to go in. Now, we just got back, so I'm probably going to be conned into going back out, it looks like. Even though I just sat down. I mean, the idea was to do this every Thursday from 2:30 to 3, so you can't wait another 22 minutes. I got no indication ahead of time that we would be going right now. You just kind of sprung it on me. So can we go at 3 when this thing is over? As long as it doesn't rain. Well, we're trying. We're hoping. Jeff says his gut's telling Howie, try to make a splash move this year, trade up. That would be huge. That would be gigantic. But the only way you trade up is for a wide receiver, right? You can let him back out. He'll come back out. Unless you two are hanging out in there. I was letting people watch him run around. He's going crazy, sniffing stuff. Him? What am I doing? Just this live stream, this live show. You want to come hang out? There's another beer for you right here. I left you one. I'm sure everybody would want to see and have questions. And okay. You can let him come out. People don't mind looking at him. That's fine.
No, I'm not. Let me go. I need to break my eyes.
Come on, buddy. He's done. I thought he'd be running around and doing stuff, but he's out. Maybe next time. Maybe next Thursday we'll get him. He was for a little bit, but I don't know what happened. Kind of bounced around. No, it's weird. It's not terribly. I don't know why you must have some sort of trance over him or something, because he was hanging out here and then all of a sudden he saw you and that was it. And I was promising people on the stream that they'd get to see him run around, go crazy and chase stuff. But where is he? Is he? Oh, see, there you go. Gets in the trash. He's just out doing stuff. It's insane. We'll try to get him back out here. I do think, though, that if you trade up, there's only one thing to do, right? The only thing you're going to do is trade up to grab a wide receiver. Is anybody really thinking they're going to trade up and draft any other position? Are they going to trade up and draft a pass rusher? Now, I was speaking with Jeff Kerr from CBS Sports on the iHeart show last night, and he brought up in his mock draft a pass rusher from Penn State. But the bigger point of conversation is, yeah, and I can see that 16 to 19, Jeff. The biggest part of conversation, I guess, that you can draw from our talk was how much power does Jim Schwartz have versus Carson Wentz? Who is pulling Howie Roseman more right now? And this isn't a 610 question. It's just reality. Like right now, when you think Howie Roseman, and it's the old Flintstones commercial, right? Where on one side, or commercial show, where you have the angel and the devil, right? So you have the angel, and that's Carson Wentz. And the devil is Jim Schwartz. And Schwartz is telling him, just draft a pass rusher. I need a pass rusher. I need a defensive lineman big time. You know, I granted, we got some help here, but I need more. I need more, because he can't help himself, and rightfully so. He's earned that. Maybe he pushes for Murray or Queen. I need a linebacker. Yeah, look, I know you guys never draft linebackers in the first round, but I need a linebacker. Let's go. Draft me a linebacker, please. Linebacker. Versus Carson Wentz, where he looks and says, hey, you know, I signed the contract. I'm here. This isn't me wishy-washy. This isn't me choosing anything to do in the next year or two. I've committed. Why don't you start committing to me? And it's a terrible look if they draft anybody on defense first with one of, I don't know, the top 5 or 6 wide receivers, even if it means trading back or trading back in to the first round to grab one of those wide receivers. But if you walk away tonight without a wide receiver, it's a terrible look, I think, overall. It doesn't mean, to Jeff's tweet, Jeffrey_cross33, who chimed in earlier about wanting Murray, you can do both. Both of us can be happy. They could theoretically draft Murray at 21, trade back into the first round, and take a Jalen Reagor from TCU. Maybe if they're lucky, Jefferson is still on the board at that point. But stranger and more crazy things have definitely happened in this draft. So I don't feel like there's anything remotely close to panic, even if, and again, I say this now, it's going to be a different story at 10:15 or 10:30, whenever the hell they draft. But even now, I say this. So Feeve 826 on Twitch where is the dog? When does he make his appearance? Man, I told you, the dog was out running around in the back, and his mom came over, and next thing you know, that was it. Next thing you know, it was a complete disaster where he goes inside. He no longer wants to be part of the show. And next thing I know, it's just me out here with my Labatt's. That's it. I thought it was going to be me, the Labatt's, and Ace, but instead it was just, and the bagel chips. But I don't know, man. These things are just kind of complimentary to the beer. I don't know what the hell happened here, but he's done. He's done. Like, we went for a little walk, and you thought he would be back out running around like he was. And he actually found a scent behind me, but he's cooked. He's inside doing God knows what. He was in the trash earlier, but see, I don't know, man. It's been a long time since they've drafted a linebacker. 40 years, I think, since they've drafted a linebacker. 70s, was it? In the first round. I did want to get to this thing, and I don't know. I got kicked off of YouTube today because I shared something on my screen. I think it was the Nicole O'Brien share from Too Hot to Handle. I think that's what it was, man, because this show, this guy, Brad Blanks, he's insane. He's incredible. He's an awesome celebrity interviewer. He's one of the top guys in the country. Red carpet, interviews everybody. Just on his Instagram page, at Brad Blanks. I'll even share it here for you as well. He had this whole thing about interviewing Ricky Gervais and also interviewing the stars, two of the stars from this new show, Too Hot to Handle. And I don't know if you're familiar with this. Boozing right now, Kev, so hopefully I'm not going to pass out by 4 o'clock today. But yeah, the idea is to have some sort of compliment to tonight's draft. This show, Too Hot to Handle, though, and I'm going to get this up here for you, Brad Blank's in Instagram at least. I know that they're not going to kick me off there because I have permission to share this. But dude is a beast, and he interviews Ricky Gervais to the reality stars and everybody else. And he talked to Gervais before the show that comes out, and it's going to be the second season of Afterlife. Now, I admittedly have not seen the first one, but I do feel like if there's anything going on with, and I'll put it back down there so you can see a little bit. If there's anything going on at all with, and here's the thing with Gervais. So maybe we'll just put this up right here so you guys can see this. So he had this interview with Ricky Gervais during the lockdown, and it was about Afterlife, the second season coming out. Now, there's also this show, the Too Hot to Handle on Netflix. And I'm telling you, a lot of people don't believe me, but wait until the draft is over. You know, we're at this point right now with Tiger King, where if you haven't seen it, you're not going to watch it. It's in the back end of people's queue. You'll go back and watch The Wire. We'll talk about The Wire before we get out of here, too, because there are a bunch of people that continue to miss, I think, a bunch of season 2 and how much it means. And I'll give you the biggest thing before we get out of here about at 3. It'll be 2:30 to 3 every Thursday, a Let's Talk Thursday. Hopefully we'll get Labatt on board. They're on board right now, at least here in this household. But, you know, if you're out there watching, we would love to do some stuff with you. And I didn't have to, you know, turn it around or anything like that, since we're actively promoting you for free, at least on the first episode. The thing about Brad and the interview with Gervais opened up the other show, Too Hot to Handle. And once Tiger King's done, once everything is over with the NFL draft, and we're doing it now on a Thursday because I'm calling it here. Could be wrong, like I could be wrong with my Jalen Reagor prediction, but I have a strong feeling about this. This show, Too Hot to Handle, is going to take over. All right, so now he's back. Let's see if we, in fact, we can get him on the screen here. I think he's aware of it. So you can't just hang out outside and not be a part of this.
No, I'm a mess.
People are going to hear you, though. See, that's the thing.
Oh, no.
So you might as well just hang out inside and wait for us. Otherwise, people are going to hear you and want to know what's going on. And they're going to it's going to be a total distraction from what I'm doing. Or just come hang out over here. You look fine. See, people want to see you. Want to see. I think there are a lot of people that don't believe I'm even engaged. So, yeah, you don't even have your ring on at this point. That's the problem. I don't even think I've seen you wear it in like a week, right?
Yeah.
Maybe 2 weeks it's been?
It's 2 weeks.
Yeah, exactly. See, this is the problem. It's been 2 weeks since I've seen. I don't even know where it is.
I have it.
You sure? Do you even know where it is? How long would it take you right now? What's the over under? Well, the ruckus going on here is we're trying to figure out the over under and how much time it would take for her to find the wedding ring on the spot right now. Because I'm guessing it would take a little bit, right? I would think so. Yeah, probably like at least 10 minutes to find the ring. Okay. It's getting cold, by the way. No, it's not Alexa talking. I'm not having a conversation with Alexa. See, I told you, nobody believes it.
I'll come on one of these days.
The dog won't even come back on camera. I'm going to have to bait him with the false idea. Yeah, I've got the over too. Trust me. Ace, you want to come over here? I have to like goad him into just coming on the screen. You won't even be able to see his face. I think he realizes it too. You know, there's no problem when he's hungry or he has to go for a walk or something like that. He'll jump up and down me during the live show. He'll paw at my face and everything. But in this case now, nothing. It's terrible. Ace, come here. People are actually asking for you. They want to see you on screen. I don't think you can eat a bagel chip because there's too much salt on it, but I have to like fake throw something out there. Maybe this will work. Go on. Go get it. Nothing. Here we go. He's up. There he is. There's his face. He's got something. Over under trades in the first round, 6. No, I take the under. Even if you went 6.5, I think I'd take the under there. Biggest reason is I think outside of 5, we already know somebody's moving up to 3. Detroit's moving back. San Francisco will make 1 trade. So that's 2. And I don't think you can count Philadelphia only because Philadelphia could be making that trade with San Francisco one way or the other. So I do feel like they're not mutually inclusive by any means, but you definitely have to factor in that there's going to be a shift, right? So the Eagles combined with the Niners, definitely the Niners would be a 3rd trade because we already have 3. Can you get to 4, 5? Well, somebody is going to trade in or back, right? At some point, somebody's going to trade back. Broncos are a good one too. I think the Broncos are strong candidates. So if you took the Niners, the Broncos, and the Eagles, that's 3 right there. We already know that somebody's going to move up to 3. That's 4 right there. The 5th trade comes, and again, we've put the Eagles in this equation, so you have to factor both them and Denver out of even moving back if for whatever reason their target wide receiver is not on the board. So I do think, though, you're going to stretch to hit that 6th trade. That's something where if you set at 6.5 or, boy, 5.5 would be tight, but I would still take the under on 5.5 just because I think you're stretching. Unless we miss something, I think you're stretching for that 6th one. I think the Raiders are an interesting candidate. I don't think, though, personally, I don't think they trade. I think that they can get enough done. But even still, I would think that they would become a trade partner with a team like Denver, where you might take 2 off the board at the same time. But look, there's also the possibility, as we know, this is a primetime thing. It's a main event thing. You've got panic buying and the end of the first round all the time. Would it shock you if the Patriots move up to draft Love? So maybe that's your 6th trade right there. We've got 5, I think, on the board, 4 or 5 on the board. That 6th one would probably be either the Patriots moving up to draft a quarterback or maybe somebody in the back end moves out of the first round in order for, I don't know, Detroit or a team like that to now move into that 30 or 31 spot. We already know the Niners have dangled both. So maybe they do trade back. Maybe they get enough value for both picks that they move from 13 and 31. It'd be a little tight for them to move out of the first round entirely, but moving back would be the possibility, right? If they move back from 13 to where the Broncos are, something like that would make some sense. And I don't know, maybe there's that factor, that crazy factor of the Cowboys. Maybe Jones does something stupid or something crazy, or somebody at the behest of him does something stupid or crazy. That could be it. Outside of that, I don't know. I think you're struggling to hit 6, unfortunately. I think that's the biggest thing that you're dealing with, is trying to get to that 6th one. Going to take the Fromm tomorrow night. There's a lot of belief on that. I tell you real quick, we mentioned Brad Blanks and get to this thing on the wire. But the thing with Blanks, he brought this prop up. Apparently, Hurts, the over-under for Hurts is 55.5. Man, I would think that if you haven't already, pound that under, right? I mean, think about the likelihood of somebody trading up in the 2nd round to draft Hurts, especially if somebody takes Fromm before him. 55. I mean, the likelihood of this dude falling to 55 is, or even close to that, I think is nil, is as low as it gets. And Blanks is the one we have to credit when this thing hits. I'll take the hurt, trust me, no pun intended, but I'll take it if it doesn't come, because I was championing it following Brad bringing it up. But even John McMullen, who we had on from a football and very grounded, reasonable, rational standpoint, laughed at the idea that Hurts would fall that far. So I think even if the Pats are the team that moves up, or not in the 1st round, moves up in the 2nd round and makes an aggressive move to draft Fromm, you're going to see a run on Hurts. Somebody's going to move up and panic buy at the very least, or make a sound decision because he's got the tools to walk into any pro offense. I mean, he's a pro-level quarterback right now. Yeah, it's crazy. I agree with you. That did not make any sense at all that he would do that. So there was this hashtag floating around on the perfect movies, right? Somebody was floating out the 5 perfect movies. So in the last couple of minutes here, I wanted to reflect on a conversation we were having on the show. And again, you can follow along. SB Nation Radio is Monday through Friday, 11 to 1, 6 to 8 p.m. Monday through Wednesday is iHeartRadio here in Philly, Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler, and then 6 to 9 p.m. Saturday and Sunday do weekend stuff on SB Nation Radio. Philly Voice, Fox 29, all that is still in play. The one thing I would say on the wire conversation, and this is because I put out the top 5 or whatever the hell it is, name 5 perfect TV shows was the hashtag. So I put that out and I just hit the wire. And I knew it would be received with a lot of high praise, and I knew it would be received with a lot of BS. Wow, how dare you? You know, there are other shows, Breaking Bad, Sopranos, all this other stuff. And you can nitpick. I think Coggin Toboggan had, I think, the best nitpick of them all, which actually opens up a couple of realistic conversations. I don't think it knocks it off from perfect, but I recognize that no show, like no movie, is truly perfect. It has its issues here or there. But even The Wire, I wouldn't even call it an issue. I think it's just a flaw in continuity. The thing about season 2, and it never gets, I think, unless you go back and rewatch it or you watch it through in its entirety. And I know that's tough because you're watching 5 straight seasons, and I'm not asking you to binge watch it all in one weekend. But if you watch it with some sense of regularity, it doesn't necessarily need to be binged, but you're just carrying through a routine. All right, I'm going to pump through, 4 or 5 episodes, especially now during the pandemic. But even before this, the show's been out forever. You see that there are some really serious and true, meaning honoring the script, connections that they bring back and tie up. And on the surface, you can look at the political things, the doc with the corruption. Those get brought back. Those get tied back in. The one thing that rarely gets mentioned, if ever, and this is where I maintain The Wire season 2 was the key season to watching the character arc of McNulty, is Amy Ryan. I mean, Amy Ryan, first off, is amazing as far as her range and her ability to act. If you just want to look at Amy Ryan's range, look at The Wire season 2 and The Office, Holly Flax. It's completely different. She basically turned into Michael Scott, the female version of Michael Scott, versus a very serious role and challenging role in The Wire. Forget her for a second. Just look at her impact, her character's impact on McNulty. It was that balance, if you will. It was trying to tip the scales back to a regular human being, not a degenerate drunk who ultimately was the fall, if you will, his own Achilles heel. So she provided a ton of balance and really honored the script of developing McNulty even further than just really good cop who drinks too much. And, in that time, I'm sure it was looked at as womenizing and things. That's really the extent of a lot of these cops on these shows. I mean, every now and again, you'll get some development. They did that with Green and Briscoe and Noth's character as well on Law and Order, but that's over time. That's not 1 or 2 episodes. And I think with one season, you got to see the impact, immediate impact that you saw from Amy Ryan's character. And on top of that, the dog's eating some stick or something. I want to make sure it's not, crap, literally crap. But at the same time, that is a constant routine thing that gets brought back up throughout the series, not just the season. And that's McNulty struggles with being a normal dude versus falling into that trap. And her character introduced in season 2, there's a ton of continuity throughout the rest of the series. All right, we're back Thursday, 2:30 to 3. Hopefully Labatt is paying attention here, as we'll send this to them and say, look, you can still get this stuff shipped. You don't need to be at your local booze store to pick this up. Appreciate it. We're back tomorrow, Friday, 11 to 1 on SB Nation Radio, at SB Nation Radio, SBNationRadio.com, at Jacob Media is how you can continue to follow, and at Shander Show for me, as you see right down there on the screen. Let's see. Let's hope the Eagles draft a wide receiver. Have a great night. Enjoy the draft. Be safe, because I know you will, because you just know where to go. Go Birds.